All right, you guys have been requesting this one a lot. We're back on to the Army of Satan series. We are now at part 10. I can't believe we've made it to part 10.
I like them now.
We've been doing these forever.
I get excited for these now. Because I'm impressed with how much people can take my ranting and raving on them.
We're coming back to magic again, the global project. I don't know what that means. This series has already tackled magic once, but we're back.
Didn't I do magic in one of these?
And it also has something clearly to do with the Illuminati. I think the backdrop of all these is that like the Illuminati or the Masons or whatever secret group that's out there is somehow, trying to orchestrate things into some end times thing.
Well, they could be. They could really be, maybe.
So, I don't know. I take all this stuff kind of with a grain of salt, but you guys are enjoying these, so we're going to continue this, and let's get into it.
What about the ruling of this pretend magic? What about buying your kids a little, box set on how to do little magic?
That's the type of trick I did in one of these videos. It was just a stupid from a box of tricks thing.
Tricks and make the card disappear and pick a card, any card. In reality, this is something without a shadow of a doubt which is very haram. Why? Because it leads to imitating the magicians. It makes somebody love magic. It makes them love magicians. It makes them encouraged towards practicing it. And at the end of the day, it shows a kind of a affinity and a kind of a love towards magicians, and it is a step towards practicing real magic. So it's not permissible for people to buy these kinds of kits. Other forms of knowledge that are related to magic that have the same ruling: fortune telling, soothsaying, reading the tea leaves, reading the palms, astrology, a diviner or a seer, someone who says that I can tell you where your car got stolen, who's got it, I can tell you who did this, somebody broke your window last night, I can tell you who it is. People who write horoscopes and so on and so forth, all of these things together are under the ruling of magic, and everything that I've said applies to them. What about these people we see on TV? What about David Blaine? What about Chris Angel and all of these people that are seen on TV? And what is the ruling of watching them? It is said that some of these people use tricks of the camera and tricks of the studio and computer-generated graphics to do what they do. Even if this is true, it would be haram to watch them. But from my experience and what limited knowledge I have, and Allahu A'lam, it seems to me that these people are genuinely engaged in magic. And it is very clear that the description of the magician applies very closely to them, and many of the tricks they do cannot be explained away by tricks of the television. Even if they were tricks of the television, it would not be permissible for you, because this would be something that is showing love towards the magicians, imitating the magicians, loving the people who hate.
So I'm imagining a scenario where I was like pulling a card out of my sleeve or something like that, doing some magic, and some guy coming up and being like, hey man, not cool. That stuff's bad. Or let's say I was even doing something more than that. Let's say I was, mesmerizing you or doing something magically. And then on the same hand, I was reading the Quran because I like it, the Quran. And then somebody came up and got in my face and they were like, that's no good, no bueno. Stop it. And my attitude was sort of aloof, and I was like, well, I'm not concerned with that. Me and Allah are tight. We're buddies. I love Allah. Peace, Allah. I love you, man. And then the person got violent at me or something. Needed me to know that I should be afraid. What the heck, man? To me, just read the situation. Somebody's trying to put fear into you. I don't see that as a higher order operation. I see that as if I was out hunting with some people and I was like, shh, seriously, there's dangerous animals around here. Get it together. You can't come next time if you're going to do that. But for some reason, when it comes to this, and God, who you can pray to and try to understand and read about and everything, if you resolve and you want to be with these people, you're like, look, I still want to come to temple or whatever, I still want to be a part of these groups. I still want to read the Quran. I'm just doing a little bit of magic. I'm just doing a little bit of it. You know what I mean?
Well, you probably won't be accepted.
I know, but I'm imagining what spirit does it show somebody that's riddled with fear? And they're like, they're trying to exorcise you or something. And you're like, I don't have any demons. You can't exorcise me. There's no damn such thing. You know what I mean? Like, look at me. I'm speaking with like perfect diction. I can proclaim the name of Allah. I can, blessed be upon him. I can say all the same stuff. I'm okay. And it like gets violent because the person needs you to know it. Yeah. Can you please see the deeper issue that I'm pointing out here? Like, it's not something that you could robotically print out an answer to. Like, I know what the answer to that is. A+. It garners just thinking. Just think about what I'm saying here.
Yeah. Well, there's many levels to think about what you're talking about here. But one is just like magic in general. Does anyone believe that Chris Angel and David Blaine are doing legit magic?
Well, they might, and I'm an asshole for laughing because who knows, man? I've seen David Blaine do some pretty crazy stuff.
He does awesome stuff, but like honestly, at the end of the day, I haven't seen in my life anyone grow limbs back or, rise from the dead. I haven't seen these things, okay? So I can only go off of my own experience. From what I gather, magic is just things we don't have the answers for. So, like, just let's all just get really honest with that.
But it's beyond, it's kind of like beyond the point of whether it's real or not. Because I agree, I haven't seen much stuff. Some of the creepiest things I've ever seen is somebody that I perceive as being dabbling in the dark arts, and then they like know something about you. That's a little unsettling when you encounter that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I feel like it's like if you can walk around saying, "Greater is He that is in me than that which is in the world," like I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of it, and I see you trying to make me afraid. I see you trying to control me with guilt. I see you trying to control me with fear, and that's not that. Maybe I should be telling you what to do. You know what I mean? And that's where, as the ego. I'm not actually saying that. Yeah, what do I get out of that? I can't speak to you in real person. I'm trying to reason here for those of you that are into this stuff, that are ready to like go beyond you're irritated with the humdrum message over and over again. And like, you got to be checking under every rock for evil. You know what I mean? And like punishing people because they're curious, If they're mentally ill, that's a different story. Yeah. If they're like a reckless person, You
don't have to look under every rock. All you have to do is look within yourself. There's enough evil you got to deal with within yourself.
Yeah. What's the honesty? What's the honest truth?
To figure things out. But anyway, we've gone on. We'll continue this on.
Yeah.
It's Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it would not be permissible anyways. But it seems that they are genuinely magicians, the majority of them, and it is extremely, extremely serious to watch them. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever goes to a fortune teller and asks a question, his salah will not be accepted for 40 days. And whoever believes in what they say has disbelieved in that which was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Watching a magician on TV, according to the opinion of most, if not all, of the scholars who have answered this question, watching a magician reading your horoscopes makes you from the people whose salah is not accepted for 40 days. Believing in what you read makes you a disbeliever who has left the religion of Islam. Watching someone like this on TV, your salah is not accepted for 40 days. Wallahu a'lam. Believing in their magic and the way that they do things and their power, you leave Islam. So it is a very, very, very serious thing to do. Sometimes people are lured into practicing magic because they enter into things like, for example, they get involved in tricks of the hand. Maybe it's a simple putting something under the sleeve and it comes out of the other side, and then they want more, like a drug addict, more and more. It's not enough to simply make a coin disappear in their hand and appear in the other hand. Then it has to be more and more and more until they go into things, maybe perhaps they go into a Ouija board or something like this, which involves calling upon the shaitan, and then once the shaitan gets hold of them, they go into it further and further. Some people are lured innocently into the practice of magic by reading books in which it says, try this is a particularly good thing, this will make your wife love you, this will make your husband love you, this will make your enemies hate you, this will destroy your enemies, write these things, say these things, do these actions. So people come into magic in different ways. Some of them follow their desires for richness, for fame, for wealth. Some of them are overcome by their desires for the world, like we're going to hear in a little while. Some of them are lured by tadarruj, by steps, by, step by step. They begin by something light, they begin by tricks, they begin by potions, and then they get into worse and worse and worse until they enter into real magic. And
to me, it seems pretty simple. If you are part of the Islamic faith, stay away from magic. And because the things that you would be trying to acquire through magic, you would acquire through Islam. So if you wanted your wife to love you more, you wouldn't cast a spell, you would pray to Allah. And it's just a different way of doing it, in my opinion. And so I understand sometimes when, depending on what organization you're with, there are rules within that organization. So if you decide to pledge allegiance, you might as well just follow it,
I would say watch closely everything that's happening around you.
Yeah.
Because you may encounter someone and go, what is it that you want? And they go, I'm just looking for a nice guy. And then you see them only responding to jerk guys. And then you go, okay, clearly there's a difference between what they say they like and what they want. It just has to do with observation.
Yeah.
And yet again, when it comes to being terrified or sensible, when it comes to all this, why don't you use your eyes and your brain to see what the fact of the matter is? Have you ever met David Blaine? You ever met him? Imagine how underwhelming that would be. You'd be like quaking before him and he'd be like, hey man, it's like a show. It's just a show. I've got a daughter who I love. Like, get him! I've got a daughter who I love! You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people invested in making one guy look magical to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a whole production to make someone look anyway. Just pay attention. And don't give up your autonomy to someone else who's reading a book you could read. You know what I mean? You could pick it up and then you're like, okay, what does my mind tell me about this book? That's my opinion.
sometimes people find this information in books and they mistakenly believe it to be something beneficial and something good, and once they get involved in it, the shaitan gets hold of them, and once the shaitan gets hold of them, they begin to enter into real magic.
Because we are human, we all have special heads. Our intelligence allows us to be masters of our universe.
A lot of what's happening today is in this realm. And it's very difficult for people to understand this. But when you study it, what you find is that a lot of the people involved in mass control are actually heavily involved in this science. And that's what you find out when you do the research. Many of the people that are involved in film, many of the people involved in music, many of the people that are involved in newscasting, they know how to manipulate the minds of people. And whether it's done with this type of magic or simply with the power of technology and the higher magic, the result is the same. You get people that are as if they're possessed. It's very strange that they place these satellites at 22,000 because those are their numbers, 11, 22, 33. They like multiples of 11 and things like this. So I don't know. I mean, we're all trying to work this thing out, aren't we? But these things are real, and jadoo, whatever you want to call it, it's real. In the last few years, it's become much clearer to me how much this is actually a force working in the world. And it makes much more sense to me now why there are so many hadiths and so many protective du'as against this stuff. You know, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. This is evil. And also, أعوذ بكلمات الله من همزات الشياطين. You know, the influences of the demons. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَأَنْ يَحْضُرُونَ, or that they should become present. You know, so the demonic realm is real. And there are people, unfortunately, that are actively involved in attempting to bring that realm into this realm. And this is where it gets very strange.
All right, there you have it. Sorry if you could hear my dog barking in the background. That's how it goes sometimes.
Weird.
I rebuke you. I was thinking about these elites and, you know, who control the strings, the puppeteers. And I'm like, where's the list? Can I see the list? I want to know who's running this show from top to bottom.
Well, you never would know. I mean, that's something between them and Moloch, the god of deception or whatever.
Yeah. And it's a well-produced video, but let's also acknowledge that we are looking at scenes from Harry Potter and, I think Eyes Wide Shut. Let's get all the creepiest imagery we can get going.
I want to apologize for my brazenness. You know what I mean? Like, part of this is because I don't want you to be bored while you're watching us. Keep that in mind, okay? And I didn't take this thing off because I took it off because it was hot.
Yeah.
But part of it is I want to apologize for snickering and stuff like that. That might be a little bit of insecurity on our part, like not knowing exactly how to react. Could sit here like this and just be very boring about it. But there are some good points that we're trying to make here about that. It is good to remember that some of that was clips from Harry Potter. That makes, a lot of stuff gets mixed in there. Like that guy with the thing on his forehead, he's a street performer. Special head?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, out of context, that's a pretty creepy looking scene. But I've seen that guy talk, and it's a show.
Yeah.
So I stick to my original thing that I said, that face life with your eyes as open as you possibly can, and just, a lot of this journey, with God is got to be about you and Him.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And I like follow your truth, man. That's a very woke, new agey thing to say. So if you're out there and you don't subscribe to it, I think that's fine. I'm like, stay away from it. And if you've got your path and you're good with it and you're good with like the confines of what that entails, then stick with it. We're not here to persuade you to leave it. Yep. Almost like this is just an outside opinion looking in on something. I've had times in my life where it was like, I was afraid of a Ouija board. I'm no longer afraid of a Ouija board. Well, I'm not bothered by certain... I have things that...
I've got some stories. I've had creepy things happen. I've been at parties
Yeah.
where bizarre things have happened. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it is kind of hard to tell what's real and what's not. And
Yeah.
what's
But this is the thing when it comes to magic. The thing that drives me crazy. I'm like, I just don't understand. I can't get inside the mind of the person who would be pursuing, like, let's get in contact with the evil, scary entities. I'm like, who is that person? I'm like, why would you do that? If you're gonna get in contact with higher orders, why wouldn't you be looking for the benevolent, angel beings?
I used to
I don't
listen,
get it.
I used to listen to magic podcasts, like people that, because I wanted to know what's the deal with magic. And so I went to the source, people that were practitioners of it, and they have podcasts and stuff. And I remember some of the warnings were like, when you are conjuring demons, it's important to remember. I was like, why would you conjure a demon? You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's just boredom. Sometimes when people are, not everybody's the same amount scaredy cat. There's some young people that are bored if they don't got a cliff to jump off of. Or, and I don't mean that literally.
And
I
they
mean,
may
like,
not really believe in it because if
I mean into water.
Yeah.
I mean like daring acts. There are people that are like need to get their blood running, so they'll turn all the lights off, and you'll be the one at the party that's like, guys, maybe let's not, conjure Satan. And they're like, come on, don't be a wimp, because they're not afraid, and it's boring for them anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yes, and I think part of it is that they don't believe in it so much. They take advantage of the fact that, well, there's a few people in this room that actually do it, so I'm going to mess with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, so that's why they're doing it.
If you're afraid, be aware of your own fear. Acknowledge that and be like, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
Because it makes you exploitable. Because predators can see that. And they'll be like, ooh, do I got some things to terrify your mind with?
Yeah.
Be aware of that. Go into peace silent and be like, oh, I know me. I'm not going to join in on the 9-hour horror movie marathon because I'm a scaredy cat.
Yeah. Maybe
it's not insulting.
Yeah, maybe I overshot it with the Ouija board thing. They are a little bit creepy, the Ouija boards and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, what are we doing with
They
these
sell them
things?
at Toys R Us.
I know.
Like, come on. At that point, it's like, God,
Yeah.
why are they so accessible?
Yeah.
It's not just... Anyway, I don't even know what we're saying
so
anymore.
We're just talking. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed our reaction on this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone till next time, stay spiritual.